Welcome to the Stream Void Podcast, episode 114.
I was yawning.
Yes. That is true. You were yawning, and that's okay.
Yep.
You are totally allowed to yawn.
Good, because I'm going to do it again.
Good. Yeah, you better drink that monster. I am Mikey T, and of course, across from me is Curb Stomped.
Hello.
He is drinking a Monster energy drink to get that juice in him, to get juiced up for this podcast. It is Sunday.
January 29th.
Yes, the 29th of January, I was going to say.
Sorry, my apologies.
2023.
Yes.
And you are listening to the Stream Void Podcast. This is a show about life and video games and everything in between.
It is.
It is.
Yes.
And as I said before, I'm Mikey T. Curb Stomp
Yes.
crossing me. You can find us everywhere under our respective monikers.
Yes.
Because I didn't say that first.
I don't know.
I don't know what happened. I said something about energy drinks.
Yes.
And that's okay, because we drink energy drinks every day.
Yes.
Literally every day. Yes.
Yes.
Sponsorship, please.
Yes. I agree.
Yes. How was your week?
I almost forgot. Yeah, just when you were saying life and everything in between, I was like, oh, yeah, right.
You had some in-between moments?
No, I didn't really, but I almost forgot about this, and that reminded me. So work was whatever, I was at the warehouse dealing with, like, we have salvage, so it was like dirty ass disgusting shit. Like, there'd be like, we bought a skid of like refused product, and it'll be like, oh, there's like beef broth on it, but like the box of them was pierced by the fork. So like 6 of them are all like broken open and moldy and rotten and shit. So
and the other 12 are just covered in
yeah,
broken
so
open
then you
moldy
have to
beef
like
broth.
those ones that are all destroyed, you have to like open up and like barf and throw away the rotten ones and then see if the other one.
Gross.
Anyways, it's disgusting, but whatever.
Yes.
So I did that, and then I was at the store doing my other stuff, whatever. But then on Friday, this was so weird. Very weird interaction. So the woman in the office was just like, she came back in. This is right first thing in the morning, and she says to me, like, I like to think we're friends around here. I was like, well, I mean, maybe, I wouldn't be, I'm not her friend or anything like that, but like, I don't like the way she does stuff in the office or whatever, but it's not like, I'm wishing ill will upon her or anything, So I'm just like, that's so weird. Like, she says this, and I'm like, okay. She's like, and like, what did she say? She's like, yeah, I like to think we're friends, and sometimes some things come up, and I start to think about things, and I was this thing came up, and I was thinking about you, and I'm just like, okay. So I'm like, what is she talking about here? Like, I'm thinking, like, what's she gonna say next? Like, oh, I have this friend that I think you'd like. Like, I'd like to introduce you to this one of my friends or whatever. And then I was like, do I want to meet some woman that she's friends with? Like, would that be, first of all, not weird, but also if she's friends with her, would I be just like, why? But, whatever. And she's sort of rambling for a bit, beating around the bush, and I'm just like, all right, okay. And she's like, but there's this opportunity that came up, and like every time I think about it, I just think the first thing that pops in my head is your name. And I'm just like, what is she talking about here? And she's like, so if you're interested at all, like, we could talk about it. Maybe we'll like go for a walk and we can talk about it, or, but every time I keep thinking of your name, and I'm just like, okay. And she's like, this is just between me and you. Like, I don't want it to get, this is just like us talking here or whatever. And I'm like, okay, all right. So she's like, so I'll just leave that with you, and then you can, let me know, right? So I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? So then I was like, is she like have some sort of like someone's looking for a job, or someone like that she thinks I'd be good for, or something like that? So then I was just like, okay, like, that's weird that, that this would be going on. And so I don't know. Anyways, we have in the chat here one of the mods saying MLM. And I was like, I never thought of MLM. I mean, she would be the type that would probably get in an MLM. I mean, that could definitely be possible, whatever. I never thought of that. So I just was like, I was puzzling over all day. Like, was there someone that was like looking for someone as like, they're like looking to get someone to do a job, and she was like, oh, you'd be good in it or whatever. And then I was like, okay, is this legitimate? Like, she's like, oh yeah, that would be a good fit. Or like, oh yeah, I could get him out of the office. So anyways, I just was like, okay, that's weird. But then she's like, she's talking like she doesn't want to talk about it in the office, and like there's nobody else in the office, so like it's not like anyone would have overheard or anything like that. So I just was like, I'm not going to go for a walk with you and talk about something or whatever. And then at the end of the day, she's leaving. It's like 4:00, and I stay till like 4:30. And she's like, okay, I'll see you later. Have a good weekend. I'm like, all right, you too, have a good weekend. She's like, and you know what? If you know what? You can give me a call if you want to. We can talk about it on the phone. I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever. So I was very weirded out by it anyways. I mean, yeah, I guess it could be an MLN.
So you don't even know yet?
No, I don't know. So that's what I was going to say. Like, do I even follow up on this, or do I just... Like, I think what I personally think is I'll be like, okay, if I go there on Monday and there's there's nobody in the office, I'll be like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. If you want to talk about it right now in the office here, we'll do it. But other than that, like, I'm not going for a walk with you to talk about whatever. If you don't want to talk about it here, then that's the end of it. But it was very weird anyways. So.
Yeah, no kidding. That's very weird.
Yeah, so it could be. I don't think it would be an ML. I don't know, maybe. It could be, but I don't know. Like, anyways, it was just a very weird thing.
Yeah, that's super weird.
And then it was just like, okay, my thing was like, there's someone that was like, oh, I'm looking for someone for a job. Do you know anybody? And then it would be like, maybe it's like she thinks it's a win-win. Like, I would do it, but I also would be gone from her hair, basically.
if she even thinks of you like that.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, face. I mean, obviously before she could tell, like, I was pissed off about what was going on because she did bring it up and we talked about it because there was that. I don't know if you remember where.
Yeah, I remember
the miscommunication about like the other guy that says I want to take her job or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but since then it's been, more or less fine. Like, there's been nothing. I mean, I've been working so much at the warehouse, so I can't do this other bullshit that she would always be like trying to pawn off on me. So It didn't matter. So who knows? Maybe she is thinking it's like a good fit for me or whatever. So anyways, I think I'll just tell her on Monday if I'm in the office alone with her, like if you want to talk about it now, we can do it. Like, I think I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling she's very serious. Like, oh, that's not a job. Like, we're on the job. Like, we shouldn't talk about this where we're on the job or whatever.
Yeah.
But then it'll be like her and the other girls are like talking in the other room for like an hour about like, oh, this, I don't know what the fuck, makeup or some. They'll be talking about like, they talk like they're teenage girls sometimes, and they're like 50 fucking years old. But like, oh, I like this foundation, and oh yeah, this would go great with your eyes, and blah blah blah. And I'm just sitting there working like, oh my god, like, how did I get in this fucking office here? So, yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Anyways, it was very weird. Anyways,
yeah.
So, I don't know. I was like, yeah. I was hoping for some advice on what you thought about.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, people, when they're just like being so secretive about it, it's like, what even is it? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, there's nobody in the office. Tell me now.
I know.
Because I'm not going to call you.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to call her.
I don't even care that much. If you don't care enough to tell me right here, then I don't care enough to call you about it later.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. I'll be like, just tell me now and whatever. If it's... If you can't tell me now, then it's whatever.
Not even worth it.
Not even worth it, really.
It must be totally illegal.
Nah, I don't think it's illegal, but I don't know. I've never heard her even mention anything about MLM before, so I don't really think that would be.
No, people who are into MLMs, that's all they talk about is their MLM.
Yeah, basically. And I don't know. I don't think she would take me as the type to be like, oh yeah, you want to fucking sell like Watsons with me or Watkins or whatever. It's like, no, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I think it's probably like she knows someone is hiring and she thinks either I would be a good fit or she could get rid of me. But even then, if it's something she'd be recommending me for, like, I don't think she would do it just to be like, oh, he's a terrible fit, but then he's out of here or whatever. Because then it sort of like screws over that relationship she has. Not that I know that she has any relationships, because whatever.
There's only one MLM you should ever go into,
and that is
Tupperware, because it's like the longest lasting.
Yeah, is it
most
still
successful?
Though?
Oh yeah. My cousin does it.
Oh, I thought you meant the product, not the company.
Oh, the products last. Yeah.
What about Avon?
Is Avon still around? I haven't heard anybody selling Avon.
Skin's so soft. Come on.
Yeah. Oh wait, yeah, I have had a couple of Avon catalogs show up in my mailbox over the last couple of years. So that's right. Yeah.
The other thing too, during this week, there was so we have a new like tech company at work, and they've been working on the server and like fixing stuff. Like the other like tech company, they wouldn't do stuff that we wanted. Like we'd get a new printer, but they just leave the other printer on the printer list. So you'd accidentally click on it, and there's probably like 1,000 sheets that are trying to print at this printer that doesn't exist anymore. So the guy came in to do that, and he is like a computer guy.
Yeah.
So the office fucking was stinking up, basically. It was like an anime convention in there. I just was like, I have to leave the door open. I'm sorry. Like, he's stinking it up in here. And it became apparent again, like, she doesn't know anything. Like, we have at our warehouse, when we pick an order, it automatically creates like a packing list.
Yeah.
With a built-in PDF program that, for whatever reason, they installed this cute PDF reader. So whenever it makes a PDF, it puts a second page saying like, hey, you should register to this cute PDF. And like when the email comes through the store, that's what it is. 2 pages. The first page is the packing slip, and the second page is like this advertisement to register, right?
This is an unregistered
Which is
program.
Like, why didn't we just use the Microsoft PDF program? It's built into Windows now.
Yeah,
anyways,
there.
So he's telling her, he's like, oh, I see that when this, it makes this PDF at the warehouse, it uses the cute PDF reader and it puts the second page on it. So I want to go and switch it back to Microsoft so you don't have this on your things, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I've had the stores complaining that they always get 2 pages on the PDFs, right? And he's like, yeah, I want to change that so it uses the Microsoft one. She's like, oh, you'll have to go to all the stores and do that then. And he's kind of like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, when they print it off here, it prints off 2 pages, and when they do it in Vernon, it prints off 2 pages, and then when they do it in the other stores, it all prints off 2 pages. And he's like, well, that's because it's on the PDF, like it's. And she's like,
side.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I know, like it prints 2 pages here, so you'll have to fix it here and there and everywhere. And he's just like, oh, well, no, that's because that's when it's made. And she's like, yeah, I get it. And then it prints, and he's like, okay, well, I could tell he's just like, holy fuck. So he's just like, okay, yeah, we'll fix it so it only does the 1 page everywhere. And I just was like, I'm sitting there like, do I just butt in and be like, it's not the printing, it's the creating. That's the problem. But I just sat there continuing doing my work and typing, like, just like, oh my God, why is she in charge of the computers?
I would have just been full on head and hands.
Well, the other thing too
rubbing
is
my forehead.
Her computer's dying, right?
Yeah.
So her thing is she always says like, oh, I'll just use it till it dies, whatever. Pretending to be really frugal, but then we got a brand new printer that costs like 10 grand. But anyways, so her computer's dying. You can hear we're using Windows 10. We're using like a 3600 RPM hard drive in it or whatever. So it's super slow. So he's like, oh, I hear your computer's dying. And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, we could get you in a cheap new computer. And she's like, no, I'll just use it till it'll die. He's like, well, I could put a new solid state drive in there and then it'll be faster, and it's, a couple $100. And she's, oh, well, we have a solid state drive here. You could do that. And I'm just thinking like, oh my God, she's going to go grab an external USB drive for this guy that we have kicking around. So she's like, yeah, I think there's one up in the old server room. Let me go get it. So I'm like, whatever, I'll let her do it. And then I left the office. She had gone to one of the other women, and we had these other external hard drives that she couldn't find. Mm-hmm. That we used to use to back up the server because it was, anyway, whatever. They used to be in the safe. So she's like, oh, can you go in the safe and see if there's any of these in there? Because he wants to use a hard drive. And I just sort of looked at him. I'm like, yeah, none of those are going to be what he wants. She's like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, well, these are all external. He's not talking external. She's like, oh, well, I'll just show him anyways. I'm like, oh, whatever. So then she comes in with an armload of like 15 external hard drives, and he's like, no, none of those. She's like, oh, okay. So it's just like, wow, she's the one that makes all the decisions. This is great. This is cool.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever.
Your tech at your company is in good hands.
No, dude. Well, that's like, so I keep like every time we say something like, so my computer died at work, right?
Yeah.
And it was like this old refurbished Dell, the ancient fucking Dell.
Yes.
So it died, and I had to take another computer to use to do my work. So I had told her like, hey, my computer's dead. I literally like looked it up to see if I could figure out what the problem was, because I knew if I just told her, she'd be like, oh, maybe we can get it fixed. So I figured it out. It was like, whatever, totally fucked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I took this other computer, but that's only temporary. I'm going to need something to work with, right? And she's like, oh, well, we'll contact the computer company, get them to send a new computer, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, this was when we had all the computer shit downstairs. Like, yeah. 2 years ago. And I was like, I know she was down there looking at it. I'm like, there's like 10 business computers downstairs.
Yeah, there was a
that
lot.
you looked at. So I was just like, why don't we just take one of the ones we already have? And she's like, well, those are all gaming computers. And I'm like, no, there's like 10 business computers down there. What, really? And I'm like, oh my God, you had to look all this shit up online to find a price. Like, ugh. Anyways, it's just frustrating.
Yes.
So anyways, that was my week. Just like nothing like, oh my God, I wanted to just explode the world, but just sort of like weird and frustrating, but not like in a major way, just like minor frustration,
Yeah.
So that's my work week anyways.
Very good.
What about you?
Oh, boring.
Oh yeah.
It's very slow
at
work right now. And I can't, and anything else that happened at work, can't really talk about.
Oh.
I'm still making PowerPoints to train people on how to use Jira, of course.
Oh God.
That's all I'm essentially doing at work, is
Jira,
answering questions from the field
Mm-hmm.
and working on the Jira and making it good. I had to lay off another couple of people.
Oh, sad.
Yes. Yeah. Super slow right now, but we're hoping things will come together.
Well, I mean, once everyone starts, I mean, I guess you guys are kind of like a little bit, ruled by like new construction and stuff like that, eh?
No, we're what's known as brownfield.
Ew, gross. What does that mean?
Greenfield is new construction.
Oh.
Brownfield is existing infrastructure. We mostly work in brownfield.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So no one's upgrading right now?
The entire place is upgrading because they're tearing out all the copper eventually.
So why is it slow for you then?
Because it's 2023 and there's recession coming.
Oh yeah.
There's a strike for the main guys coming. There's a huge shuffle that happened with the upper management on them, and yeah. Well, they're thinking we're already through the recession. Like that's it. There's not going to be one.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? With interest rates going up now, we don't know.
Yeah, interest rates are crazy.
Interest rates are going up.
Man, I'm so happy that I got a fixed rate on my mortgage, man.
I know.
Dude, if it was variable, holy fuck.
So the house across the street is now for sale.
Okay.
It is a 2-bedroom.
You buying it?
1 bathroom, 1,200 square foot house.
Okay. 1,200?
1,200.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit less than that.
Okay.
$445,000.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it.
$445,000. This house is tiny. It's got a yard, a little bit of a yard, but no front yard, very little front yard, it's got a medium-sized backyard. Medium-sized, I guess it's not as big as mine.
Sounds like my house.
Yeah. It sounds, it's probably akin to your house.
Yeah.
They want $445,000.
I love to hear it.
It's been on the market for a couple weeks now. They've had multiple people going in and out of there. That's still have multiple people going in and out of there. No one's really bought it yet.
Yeah. It's crazy how much the property's gone up.
I know. There was a house just down the way. They wanted just under 400 for a much bigger house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, maybe I should just buy this house. And then I'm looking at the cost of what it would be, even if I put down $100,000 on it, and then it's still going to be like, the mortgage is still super expensive.
Well,
it's
especially
like
now,
$2,200 a month for the mortgage. I'm like, oh my God. And that's me putting down $100,000 on it.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, I got in at the right time when I got my place.
You definitely did.
Like the recent property tax, the property value notification came in the mail, and the land is worth more than I paid for just the whole thing, house and land.
Yeah, things
So-
are going up. It's getting ridiculous, and I mean, I understand why the millennial generation is like all the memes are like, "Oh, we'll never buy a house." I'm like, yeah, you're
they
probably
just-
right.
They need to ban foreign buyers and all that stuff like that.
Yeah,
It has
I think
happened.
they're implementing more banning of foreign buyers and more foreign buyer tax that is happening.
Yeah. But even
it's
then,
getting
like,
ridiculous around here.
I mean, adding a tax on foreign buyers isn't really that big of a deal.
No,
Not to them, anyways.
No.
So, yeah, it sucks.
Especially in the Chinese market, the only thing you can invest in is real estate.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I've heard anyway, and I've watched multiple YouTube videos, quote unquote, on that where they just expand and buy real estate. And
If a lot of young people, if they just, I mean, it's kind of like a whatever shithole thing to say, but like, there's a lot of like, now it's more about saving up to get a place. It's not like I just was like, I'm gonna buy a house and that was the end of it. It was like, this was a plan that came about after.
But you got to save up a lot more now.
You do for sure. Oh, you totally do. That's definitely true. But
or you're just paying out the nose.
yeah, you definitely have to have a way larger down payment than I did. But I mean, I don't want to be like the boomer type people that say like, oh, when I worked at Zellers and I had enough money to send my kids to college and I bought a house and I could go on 2 vacations a year. And it's like, yeah, but a house costs $17,000.
Yeah, exactly.
When you bought it. So it's a little different.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sucks,
Even with my income and the savings that I have,
yeah.
I look at houses and I'm like, I can't afford that.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
can't even do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing though too, a lot of people now, I mean, we're getting into house talk now, like what the fuck, but it's like, oh, I want the house with the 4-bedroom, 2-bath, big backyard, garage, all that shit. It's like, well, no, you start with like
You start with something small.
You start with a townhouse,
Yeah.
and then like, after 5 years, then you move into like the starter home, and then 5 years later, then you trade up to the like next home, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of gotta, I don't know, temper the expectations, I guess, a bit.
I suppose. I mean, I've been in this place for 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
now, and this is a full house, and I
Mhm.
have a huge backyard,
Yeah.
a shop. I have a room that's just a podcast studio.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
downgrading to something smaller
Yeah,
just
that's
wouldn't be possible.
I
would have to-
That's you're a little different though,
Yeah.
because like,
I would have to buy something and rent it out.
yeah. No, it's a little different but I mean, like when you're first moving out and
Oh,
you
yeah,
first
for
got
sure.
your job and everything like that, it's like, okay, you don't move into the 4-bedroom house
No,
immediately.
you move into
You move into the
bachelor
dungeon.
suite.
Yeah, exactly. Your 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yes.
I'm not. I
a
just
lot of
wanna say
vlogging.
I got lucky with my house.
Yes.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was like skill or anything like that.
It's pure luck.
There was luck, but some good timing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of vlogging. Did a lot of vlogging this week. Got a lot
Nice.
of packages come in. Did a lot of unboxing. Apparently, I do like unboxing.
What? What did
every
you
vlog
buy?
now. I bought a rooftop tent
Oh, for the Jeep.
for the Jeep. I finally, there's a vacation coming up. Briscoe, one of the
Mm-hmm.
is he a Patreon?
He better be,
I don't
otherwise
think
some
he is.
throw hands.
But anyway, he's a fellow
Yeah.
local friend.
Yep.
For a long time.
Yep.
Good friend.
Mhm.
We're talking about vacation.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's just plan a vacation to the island with
Oh.
all the high school friends, because he is quote unquote a high school friend, but not really, because we didn't go to the same high school. But met around that time, just after high school. And so we decided we're just going to go. Whoever's coming.
Yeah.
Screw making plans with everybody else. We're just going to go, and whoever wants to
you
come
have
can
to do
come.
it that way. Otherwise, they'll be like, I can't go that weekend. Oh, I got
exactly.
this. Oh, I'm actually not going to come. Oh, well.
So we did that, and Briscoe was talking about renting an RV. So I was like,
Mhm.
hey, man, I'll get in on that RV with you, unless you're bringing the fam. And he's like, I'm bringing the fam. So I was like, okay.
Yes, that'd
We're-
be full house.
Yes. So I was like, okay, we're going to need to find some kind of
Unless
tent
you're bringing the
situation.
fam. What do you think he's gonna leave his wife and kids at home?
Well, the kids, yeah. his kids are old enough that they can.
Yeah, they're
they can
not
self-look
that
after
old
that.
though.
Well, they are.
No,
They are.
It's still like they're coming on the vacation.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. Oh, then I need to
Yeah.
get
Do something.
get a tent or rent an RV or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I've been talking about decking the Jeep out with a rooftop tent and a rack and all that kind of stuff. So I just did it.
Oh, very good.
I saved the rack that I wanted locally was $1,500. And I was like, what?
Yep.
How is this $1,500? That's ridiculous. It's like
it's OEM.
I guess. And I found the same rack on Amazon. Maybe a knockoff, but it looks the exact
Guaranteed.
same. And reviews were all really high. It was
Yeah.
only $800. So I was like, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Get that. And rooftop tent. I was looking at rooftop tents. I'm like, oh man, these things are so freaking expensive.
Oh yeah.
They're so expensive.
Yep.
And you're like paying 10 times what you would for like just a regular ground tent.
Oh yeah.
Because it's, sturdy, easy up.
Well, the thing
has
is
a mattress
like
inside.
anyone can buy a ground tent.
Yeah.
Only certain people can buy the rooftop
Yeah.
tent. So they got to sell them at a lot more money to break even.
That's true. you can go all the way up to like 10 grand
Oh, yeah.
almost on a rooftop tent. So I
Oh, yeah.
found one on Amazon.
10
for-
grand.
No.
Oh.
I think I paid $12.99 for it,
Oh yeah.
but it was very highly reviewed.
Is it
for, like-
specifically for top of a Jeep?
not specifically.
No, okay.
But yeah, I unpacked it,
hmm
opened it up over in the VR area. and
Wait,
man,
did you set it up inside?
Yeah, I mean, you just unfold it. It's open.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, because I was looking at, I unboxed it and I was like, oh, there's no cover. Where's like the cover and like the
Mhm.
ladder and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
Oh.
And I read one of the reviews and he's like, oh, it's all inside.
Yeah.
So I opened
Oh,
it up
yeah,
and I went inside and it's all inside. I'm like, oh, and
Packs
all the
away nice.
materials feel like high quality. Like the fly is high quality.
Nice.
The tent is thick.
Nice.
It's fairly thick.
Love
it's
it thick.
It's not a nice canvas, but it's pretty
You,
thick.
you don't want canvas. You don't want canvas.
And yeah, it's fairly comfy on the inside, and it's super quick to set up.
Nice.
I was fairly impressed.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Other than that, edited the Patreon video.
Oh,
All right.
Very good.
The
Potted meat.
potted meat shopping video.
Yep.
And due to the HDCV or HEVC codec that
Yep.
my phone uses to compress HD video, it doesn't like to decompress on my computer properly.
Yes.
So I couldn't edit it in Adobe because of HDR. Adobe doesn't like HDR10, and all those videos were shot in HDR10.
It's crazy. You pay so much for the money for this program and it doesn't work.
Yeah, right? And even,
Jesus.
and this is like, I'm using Elements, but even, I did a lot of Googling, and even like Premiere Pro, you can't handle HDR10. Like, it just won't do it. And I'm like, come on.
Crazy.
So I'm editing in
DaVinci.
DaVinci's Resolve.
Superior.
And I absolutely hate editing in DaVinci's Resolve.
Superior program, I believe.
My tour box doesn't work properly in it because for some reason DaVinci doesn't buffer the entire video into like a buffer.
Oh.
So when you're like scrolling
Oh,
with the wheel,
yeah.
it's just like stuttering back and forth all over the
Oh.
place. I'm like, I'm like trying to go frame by frame with my high precision tour box wheel, and it's like, oh, you want to go 30 frames this way and then 20 frames back? God
Oh,
damn
I
it.
guess that's why I have trouble with DaVinci that way. Like you'd be using Adobe and just zipping around. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, I need more RAM, I guess. But I guess I need a different program.
Even me, I've got 32 gigs of RAM. I've got the 4900X
Yeah.
or 5900X
Mhm.
Ryzen 9, and it's still and a super fast hard drive,
Yeah.
and it still just like flutters around and like. ugh.
That's called that's not a bug, that's a feature.
And one thing I also hate is that it separates the audio and the video track.
Why do you hate that?
Like it's separated so like your main one has the audio and video together, and then the second track puts the audio, track 2 video goes above track 1 video, and track 2 audio goes below track 1 audio.
I think you can rearrange those.
God, I hope so.
I'm pretty sure if you unlock them, you can move them to wherever you want.
It's so annoying having those separated out.
Yeah, I think that you can change those around.
Because I'll be like looking to try and not cover up something on
Oh.
the top, and it'll cover it up on the bottom, and it just completely.
Or are you
nuke
looking to have the
timeline.
audio next to the video?
The audio next to the video every time.
Oh, I don't know if that's possible then.
yeah.
I was misunderstanding.
So I went through, the 5 hours of footage that we shot.
No, it wasn't that much.
We shot a lot of video because the total video length for that Patreon video was 23 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think we shot a lot of video.
The only thing I noticed that we recorded that wasn't in there was when we were going into the Superstore and I said, what percentage of a chance are we going to get new meat here? And we said our percentage guess or whatever. That was the only thing I remember recording that I did not see in that. Everything else I remembered.
Yeah, I think something was off with that footage. Like
It was probably noisy as fuck because we were in the...
Oh, okay, yeah. So we were in the basement.
Yeah.
And I had to color correct every single shot in here because of the HDR10 and DaVinci Resolve is just blowing out everything. Like it was undersaturated and overexposed.
Nice.
So I had to like dial it back a whole lot just to get it to look semi-decent.
Yeah.
So when we were saying that stuff, we were in front of my Jeep with my license plate clearly visible.
Oh, yeah.
So I tried to do like a track blur.
Yeah.
But when you do the track blur, when you put the square there to track and blur it, it puts the all the color correction just in that square.
Nice.
All the color correction just went into that square and everything got blown out again. I'm like, oh my god.
Nice. That's weird.
Blurred and color corrected tiny little square.
Crazy.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah, get rid of it. No, that's fine. I just don't remember anything else we said that wasn't in the video. So, well, I remember recording other things like when we went into the fresh market and there was those lockers. We were talking about the lockers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but that didn't really have anything to do with what we were doing. So
I saw that clip was like buried. Like when I loaded everything into DaVinci into the clip storage, it's not done by time. It's only done by file name. So like I had to like scan through and try and find each clip in chronological order.
Oh, weird.
And I somehow missed that clip and I went back and played it and I was like, I probably don't need to put this in there.
Yeah. Exactly.
All that Freshco market stuff, nothing really interesting happened.
No.
So I didn't really leave anything in there from that, just the going to and coming from.
Oh yeah, I remember I said they had artisanal dump bins.
Yes, they did have artisanal dump bins. So while I'm editing this video, just being frustrated to heck about it, a friend messaged me on Steam. He's like, hey, can you give me a hand with voting for my CSGO League team?
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I want to play in a thing. And I'm like, I don't know. This guy's local.
Yeah.
I don't know him too well. I know he plays CSGO.
Okay.
So I was like, sure, I'll help you out with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seems kind of sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the website. Website seems fully legit.
Yeah.
Everything, all the links work. You can click to places. Everything works.
Yeah.
And it's like you go to vote and it pops up with a Steam login.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, I got 2FA. It's fine.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out and they take out my password, it's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I can change it. And so I log in and it pops up on my phone. Hey, are you logging in? I'm like, yes. I sure am. I was like, oh, it must be legit.
Yeah.
But no. It's definitely not legit. So what that does, I think, is that it saves that login token to that person's computer.
Yeah.
And now they're logged into your account.
Yeah.
So I guess my account is just garbage to people because they didn't take it. They didn't change the password. They didn't change the email. They didn't take anything. There are no trade offers, no purchases, nothing. And then they start messaging people about, hey, can you help me send my CSGO team?
Yeah.
But everyone that they messaged was an ultra close friend of mine.
Yeah.
Except for a couple people, and those guys, and only one person got bamboozled because I went through and I looked at the chat history.
Yeah.
So they were messaging people who were very close to me, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk like this.
So you must have got like through back into it and cut them off before they had a chance to do anything to everybody. Because like I didn't get a message.
No, they got maybe 15 people messaged, and most of them knew me pretty good. So Master of None, one of our Patreons and longtime viewer, messaged me. She's like, hey, what's going on here? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So I run downstairs. I can see that a bunch of my friends list has been blocked. Because after they messaged somebody, they blocked them.
Oh, crazy.
And they block from communication. So I'm like looking at it, I'm like, oh man, what the heck? But I still have access to my account.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. So I'm just like, log out everywhere.
Yeah.
Change password. Done.
Yeah. She messaged me like, hey, what is going on with this here? I got a weird message from Mikey, and I was just like, well, what does it say? And it's like, oh, can you go and vote for my school's CSGO team? I'm like, he's not in school.
Yeah, right?
Like, obviously this is fake. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So, yeah, got that done. Got my password changed. It's fine.
Yeah.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah. It's a pretty... Like, how did they do that with the 2FA? Because it 2FA'd my phone.
Maybe it was they got your login and then they use that to log in immediately on Steam.
Yeah, could be.
Rather than via the website. Who knows? But it's weird that
it was just completely automatic and looked pretty legit.
It's weird that like they got your password somehow by asking for it from Steam.
Yeah, it autofilled.
That's Oh, you didn't log in with Steam. Like there's not a like login with Steam.
Yeah, there was
button?
the login with Steam.
Huh.
It was weird.
Weird.
Yeah, they had something going on like that. But for most of the people who tried it, that tried to get bamboozled by it, the website wasn't working. It had gone down. I was like, oh, thank God.
Crazy.
Yeah, so they must have been getting a lot of hits at that time, and so the website went down.
Yeah, they might have been just trying to get as many out as possible to see who they could compromise and then later go back through and actually take over the accounts.
Yeah. So I spent like 2 hours going through my friends list, unblocking everyone, seeing if they got bamboozled, and then contacting them outside and be like, hey, you got to change your stuff.
Yeah. Crazy.
So there was only one person that did. And I had no other way to contact him than through Steam, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Not much. But yeah, that was my Friday. A little bit stressed out. Didn't get much done.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was in the midst of making dinner when that happened. I was like, fuck.
Crazy.
Yeah. And the only thing I really played other than the Game Club game was Myth Force.
Oh, Myth Force.
Briscoe and I teamed up for a multiplayer action, and man, that game is fun in multiplayer.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Yeah. I played a little bit on the Discord you were watching.
Yeah, you made it look a lot better than the trailer did anyways. I guess the trailer's like quick cuts and like whatever, so you can't really get a good idea about it.
Yeah, well, the trailer's just like and they do the opening sequence, which is super good.
Yeah, that part was cool, but then they showed the game and I just was like, eh. But you don't really get a good look at like how the graphics look in the like.
No.
You get an idea like, oh, they're kind of cell shaded. That's cool.
Yeah.
But then when it's actually like on the screen for extended amount of time, it's like, oh, okay, now I sort of see what they're going for here. So I didn't think the gameplay trailer was very good.
I don't think I watched the gameplay trailer. I watched a YouTuber play it, and I was like, oh man, this looks good. And I was like trying to remember the name for a while. I'm like, oh yeah, Myth Force.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's only on Epic?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Epic must have given them a bag to get
Jeez
that.
Louise, typical Epic buying the exclusives. Oh my, OMG, why just can't it be on Steam?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I bought it on Epic, and I've been playing it, and it's good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of got a cool little build thing going on where you know, if you get the right random level up things, you can like work your way to getting a different type of build every time. So
yeah, every time you level up, you can get a choice of three or four upgrades to your stats, and then 3 or 4 ability upgrades, perks.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was and then outside, because it's a roguelike, you die and then you level up your character outside so that you can have, there's 3 skill trees you can go down, each with 10 levels. And so you can get like up increases to your health and your stats and all that through there, special skills, and then you can upgrade your skills with perk points.
Yeah.
So the character I was using, Victoria, has a shield throw, has 3 bounces between enemies, but I have it upgraded so it has 5 bounces between enemies, and it can bounce to you and give you a shield.
Classic.
Yes.
Tank.
Yeah, super fun. I highly recommend playing it. It is in early access, so there's only the one adventure you can do right now.
Yeah, it was a little like there's a few things you could tell was early access. Like, oh, there's 2 pots like spawning in on top of each other.
I actually had it the other day where there were 3 pots.
Oh my
spawning
god,
on top of
3
each
times
other.
the treasure.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, super fun.
Cool.
Highly recommend it if you enjoy supporting early access games on Epic.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't got a problem with it.
Very good.
I didn't really play anything too crazy. I started Phoenix Wright. Wait, did I talk about that last time?
Yeah.
Maybe I did. Played a little Satisfactory, a little Vintage Story. I think that's about it, really. Oh no, I went and I got all the achievements in Donut Valley. It's called Donut Valley. Yeah, Donut Valley. It's like a game where you control a hole in the ground, and as it eats stuff, it gets bigger, like Katamari kind of.
Yeah, that's up my alley.
It was on Game Pass. It's leaving, and I'd played it and beat it, whatever. But then there was like 10 achievements, so I was like, how hard are these achievements? And it was like, beat this level without swallowing the radio. Oh, I can do that. So I just went through and got all the achievements. And
nice.
Wrapped it up. So yeah, it's leaving Game Pass. I enjoyed it. It's a short one. It's like 3 hours. Yeah.
Maybe if I got time, I'll hop on and play it.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's I've watched a couple of people play, and I'm like, I could get into this.
Yeah, it was interesting. Other than that, I didn't play anything really, but I did watch something.
Yes.
I watched Megan.
Yes.
Do you know Megan?
Yes.
Have you seen Megan?
No.
You should see Megan.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are complaining like, oh, it's so stupid or whatever. It's like, God, it's a horror movie. Like, come on.
Yeah. It's
seriously.
A horror movie taking inspiration from other 80s horror movies, isn't it?
Well, it's like...
It feels like that.
I mean, not really, but it's like she's an android, basically. She goes banana sandwiches.
Oh.
So people are like, oh my God, there's a part where she's singing and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's crazy. But I think... I mean, it's not like a full-sized power washer, but there is a power washer murdering in it.
Yeah.
So you should watch it anyways. Yeah, it's just like a stupid horror movie, basically.
Huh.
I don't know. People always complain like, oh my God. I remember one of our mutual friends was complaining about The Hills Have Eyes. Like, everyone's so stupid in that movie. And the only smart characters in that movie are the dog. It's like, dude, it's a horror movie.
Everyone's supposed to be dumb, otherwise the plot doesn't progress.
Like, they wouldn't have even been in this situation in the first place. So,
yeah, smart people live.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen bad horror movies, but like, they're bad for like other reasons. Like, oh, the story's dumb. Oh, no shit. Like, of course, it's about a friggin' girl-sized robot.
Yeah.
Of course it's not. It's pretty far-fetched. Anyways, whatever. I liked it. And the only other thing I did is I didn't watch, but I listened to an audiobook.
Oh.
Called The Shards. It's Bret Easton Ellis's new book. He wrote, like, Lesson Zero and American Psycho and, I don't know, Imperial Bedrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is like... It's like semi-autobiographical because he's the star of the book as himself as a teenager.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's also not real at all because he murders someone. But it's just the story of, like, affluent teenagers in Los Angeles in the 80s dealing with going to school as well as doing drugs, and there's a murderer. A serial killer going around killing his friends. And it was good. I liked it. It's a little long, I think. That's kind of the way these books go with these authors, where it's like their first book gets published. Like, if you go back and look at early Stephen King books, they're like 180 pages, 150 pages, because the editor be like, well, we can cut all this stuff out. You don't need any of this. But then now Stephen King is Stephen King. So it's like, no, my book's 3,000 pages long. We're not cutting anything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this book is. It's like the longest book he's ever done. And there's a lot of parts where I'm like, what was even the point of this scene? I mean, there's a lot in his books. There's a lot of scenes where it's like, doesn't really move the story along at all, but it's like still interesting. Whereas this, it was just like, why was this here? So I like it, but there is a lot of gay sex in this book. Like a lot of descriptions of cocks being sucked and stuff like that.
Listen to that in the office, just full on the
no.
Bluetooth
This
speaker?
was on the old in the old earpieces at the warehouse. Yeah. So I liked it a lot. Anyways, I'm listening to it a second time because when I finished it, I was like, oh, I need to hear about these cocks again. No. At the end, I was like, wow, I think he like referenced all this stuff earlier in the book and you didn't really know what he was referencing. And so I was like, I want to listen to it again. And then I can be like, oh yeah, that did come to play later. So, which is called foreshadowing.
yes.
So it's like an important literary device. So I got it on my Audible account with my monthly credit.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. So I liked it. I recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it as my first Bret Easton Ellis book, probably. But if you've read any of his other ones, you would probably enjoy this one.
Nice.
I mean, the Less Than Zero's first book is like the book I've read the most ever. I've read it like 10 times. So, and I have it on an audiobook now too, so I can listen to it whenever I want.
Nice.
Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the show notes here, and you had typed in Megan, and I'm like, okay, he watched Megan, the horror show, and then you typed in The Shards.
Yes.
No punctuation. It's just
No.
Megan the Shards, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, what is this now? Megan the Shards. I'm not entirely sure. Is this like a
commas are for the weak?
Yeah. Did he mean to type Sharts? Megan the Shards?
Is she Sharts?
Bad movie?
I don't think there's any Sharts in that movie. Some murdering for sure.
Yeah.